Hey everyone, welcome back. So what makes a company or a product great if it's solving the real world problem? If I want to invest, then I need to know, again, my opinion only, that the vision of the company is very clear on how they are going to solve the real world problem. I'll be honest, up until last year, I have never heard of Palantir and what all they do. But I was aware, of course, of PayPal Mafia and the tech brains behind it or involved in it because I follow Elon Musk, Jack Dorsey for a number of years. So Peter Thiel's name was familiar to me as well. Then Palantir IPO'd with the pandemic, or I would say when the pandemic was going on. It became very clear to me that this company is in the center of it all. Pandemic taught us a lot of things, and one of them I would say is how to be flexible, how to adapt quickly. We had no time to think and analyze. It doesn't matter if it's working from home or saying no to a wedding invitation or a family dinner, everything just became the new normal. And that's where Palantir came into play. And after reading and researching on all things Palantir is for pandemic, I feel more stronger than ever that Palantir will be our first defense against pandemic. That could, come as a new Delta variant or something different that we have never heard of. So now let me share my research with you on why I feel so strongly about this. Here's a small clip of all that Palantir did for the pandemic.
What would Palantir be able to do to help us, help HHS in this period going forward, distributing vaccines, getting the country healthy again, preparing for the next pandemic?
Well, Palantir is involved globally in, and the two places we're most prominently involved are the US, UK, but a number of other countries, in allowing people who are doing the planning to understand exactly what's happening on the ground, distribute PPE. So for example, which hospitals are overutilized, which hospitals have capacity, which hospitals need PPE, which ones have too much, which ones have too little. And then on vaccine distribution, most notably in the US and the UK. And what Foundry allows them to see and decide is it's essentially a dashboard unifying the hundreds of data sets that make up the production of vaccines, the distribution of vaccines up to the state level. So how many vaccines are produced, how many can be shipped, and where do they go?
After watching that clip, I'm sure most of you already know what all they did for pandemic, but one thing that stood out for me personally is how quickly they adapted and they improvised and they implemented. So even though we feel that the pandemic is behind us and we are opening places and feeling excited about getting our lives back, one thing is going to stay forever with us, and that is that we will be better prepared for the next pandemic. I hope it doesn't happen, never happens, but better safe than sorry. Like 9/11, world will never be the same, and after this pandemic, we'll be better prepared than we have ever been. In my previous videos, I talked about how data is the new gold, and countries will fight over who will control the most data. Palantir has positioned itself in such a way that in the coming years, it'll be impossible to ignore companies like Palantir who deals in simplifying data. So here's my screen. So I hope it never happens, but again, I'm seeing some articles, some titles that basically says that, luck is not a strategy like this one. The world needs to start preparing now for the next pandemic. Even Bill Gates came out and said, next pandemic can happen. Also, the article, they're already talking about the next pandemic. It could be as a different Delta variant or something brand new. So I feel that Palantir has such an advantage, and the reason why I'm saying has such an advantage is because there are some articles that came right in the middle of pandemic. So right here it says, Peter Thiel's Palantir saw coronavirus coming, now it braces for the impact. So if you read this article further, it talks about that Peter Thiel's data firm Palantir got an early jump on the coronavirus, recalling staff from abroad ahead of most companies. In recent weeks, it parlayed that knowledge into a growing role helping government around the world track pandemic. So pandemic, or I would say Palantir, was already aware of pandemic before all other companies because they were seeing the signs or the data that they had and analyzing it and seeing that, something is not right. And if you read other articles, Peter Thiel's Palantir scores contract with FDA to speed up regulatory reviews as delay keeps growing. Now, this happened in December 2020 when we were right in the middle of that wave that everybody was talking about. So Palantir has positioned itself has come into a play so strongly during the pandemic that I feel stronger than ever that this company is really, really critical or essential for our defense against pandemic. Now, next research I'm going to show you is, and this is pretty recent, the articles that I've seen, but before that, let me share a very quick personal experience with all of you. So I was involved with a project where a contract was given by a state agency to create an alert system for flu outbreak. Just that one simple system had us go around in circles because we had to purge data from all social media outlets, walk-in clinics, schools, hospitals, that it became a behemoth of a task. Collecting data by various sources was not hard. No, that was not the problem. What was hard is to analyze and present that data in a simple form so the end users can take action. And that's where Palantir triumphs with their Foundry platform. It's so robust that from implementation to giving results is a matter of hours. It's just mind-blowing to think about that. Now, Palantir has already started thinking about those lines and those issues and started preparing itself as the first defense. And this is where I'm going to share my screen and show you all what they're already doing for the pandemic. So right here, this news came out on May 3rd, 2021. So it's very recent that Palantir hires former IBM Watson health exec as its first US government chief medical officer. So Palantir is getting involved more and more with the medical side of things. And here's more proof for that. So of course, we know that CDC or Palantir holds a contract with CDC. CDC renews partnership with Palantir for disease monitoring and outbreak response. So they're not talking about how to distribute the vaccine. No, the contract that they have re-signed or renewed is basically for monitoring the outbreaks. That's really key of taking the action before it actually becomes a problem. And this article, of course, is very exciting that how Palantir is quietly extending its reach through the British state. Now, we already know that, Palantir is winning contracts left and right from the US government, from the commercial sector, but I feel Palantir can really flourish in the international market more stronger than US because of their reach of what they're already doing in the international market. Now, here's a snapshot from Bloomberg Terminal about all the contracts that Palantir currently holds with the US government. I have highlighted just 3 of them just so that for this video, because we are talking about pandemic or the defense against pandemic. So the first contract I'm going to bring your attention to is from the United States Department of Health and Human Services, which is for $40 million. The second contract from HHS Food and Drug Administration is for $15.16 million. And the third one, HHS Center for Disease Control and Prevention, for about $3.6 million. So all the 3 contracts that you see over here deals with disease prevention and of course monitoring the systems. So all the contracts, they're not even talking about logistics or all the other things that Palantir is solving for the government. These are all the contracts for basically getting prepared for any future events that happen. Because Palantir is already working, we know, with CDC, with HHS, it's already working in the contracts. But I feel the value of these contracts will continue to grow more and more agencies will sign because, again, all these agencies are related at the back end where they're basically preventing, controlling the outbreak of any major disease. So I feel that being bullish on Palantir as an investor in one thing, but being bullish on a company because it's solving so many real world problems is at a completely different level. And I'm really excited and bullish on the company because I know for a fact that Palantir and also companies like Palantir, see, Palantir is not the only company. I'm saying Palantir and the companies like Palantir is going to play a critical role in years and years to come. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you get anything out of it, please do me a favor, hit that share, subscribe, and like button so this video can reach out to more Palantir lovers. Love you all. Until next time, you all have a wonderful day.